you're barely keeping up with the course. Assignments, tests, simple survival. The idea of starting a LinkedIn profile feels laughable. Who am I to post anything when I'm barely holding it together? You ask yourself. Is it even worth it? Can you do it? Today we are joined by Uwais Asmal, CASA, CFO, and host of 2 Ways to Skin a Cat. We chat about what it takes for you to build your personal brand on LinkedIn. We also chat about his eclectic experience in various accounting paths, lessons in trying and failing, taking risks and starting 2 Ways to Skin a Cat, the power of networking and building relationships, the value of a reputable brand on your CV, the 20-hour rule of skills acquisition, and more. Enjoy. My travelers on the road to CASA. Very, very quick one. 2 Ways to Skin a Cat. I think you should check it out. It's Uwais, his podcast, and he basically interviews the more seasoned variant of traveler, the one beyond the road to CASA, and gives tips on what he wished he knew when he was a young professional. So I think you should check it out. That will be linked in the show notes. With that, on to the show. Good morning, guys. Welcome back, my people. This is the Road to CA podcast. Maybe good afternoon, maybe good evening, whatever time you're listening to this. This is the show for aspiring chartered accountants to inspire, to inform, and to empower the difference makers of tomorrow. Today, we're joined by another CASA, but not any CASA. Somewhat of a celebrity, in fact, in the space. He has a passion for giving to young professionals, to giving them the tips and tricks and perspectives that he never had when he was a young professional. And this has actually led him to starting 2 Ways to Skin a Cat, the show for all those who seek professional mentorship, professional advice, where they chat everything business with these seasoned professionals. And it's just an amazing place where you can get a feel for what it's like to grow despite not climbing the corporate ladder. When he's not blessing the mic during the day, when he's Clark Kent and not Superman, his secret identity is that of a CFO. And he is a CFO of a tech I don't know if it's a startup, but we will chat about it, but a tech business in Cape Town. Additionally, he's an avid runner. He's an avid sportsman, currently training for his next ultra marathon. We can also chat about that. He's our resident CASA big brother, uncle in the professional world. We're joined by Uwais Asmal. Uwais, how are you?
Alunga, I'm good. It's been a crazy month, but I'm happy to be here. Excited to have the discussion. Let's jump in.
I'm excited because I feel like this is a conversation that's been manifesting for me for years. I mean, remember when I messaged you, when was it? Like 2022? That was the first time I messaged you on LinkedIn.
I need to check. It's been a whirlwind since 2022.
Yo. We're going to reflect on all of it. But as I said, man, I'm just so excited because you have been that presence that gets us a little bit more acquainted with that professional world as young professionals. But even for those professionals who are in the game, who have wetted their feet, you give these different perspectives. So I'm so excited to jump into your brain for a second, you know?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. Okay. This is what we do at the beginning of the Road to CA. We take it all the way back. Let's go rewind. Where did this whole CASA thing begin for you?
Interesting, actually. So I didn't really know what a CASA was. I didn't know anyone who was a CA. in my circles or in my parent circles. But
Mm,
I was in matric. I went to school in, I suppose you can call it a school on the edges of the Cape Flats. I mean,
mm,
same like everyone, taking minibus taxis to and from school. The normal, I guess, normal Cape Town upbringing. We come from that side of the tracks.
mm,
In matric, I got this invite. So I was a good student. I loved accounting. I had good results. And KPMG was having this 3-day event. So they sent the top 2 accounting students from our school were invited. So
mm.
we both went to this 3-day event. I didn't know what a CA was before then. They took us with to clients. They explained to us what it was all about. After the 3 days, that's what I was going to study. Like I knew after that because I didn't know definitely that I was going to be a chartered accountant. All I knew was I liked accounting. This looked
Uh,
interesting. Let's take it. At least I know I'm going to study something interesting. Let's do that. Ironically,
sure.
the person that also went with me also went to study. Also did articles at the same firm. I think she's also quite a strong CA. I haven't spoken to her in a while, but interesting how a little bit of a drop in the pond makes such a big difference.
Yo. Yo. So now you enter the CA environment, like a lot of us, with just that little tiny bit of knowledge of it. What unfolded when you found out about it? You said, I want to study that. What were those new paths that you found out? Because I know when I started as well, I thought there was only audit, for an example. Um, what were those things that you discovered as you were pursuing the path?
Be honest with you, I didn't discover anything.
Hmm.
I studied a long time ago, and at that stage, I mean, I was lucky enough to get a bursary to study at university, and then it's just like, okay, you just need to pass. Okay, you need to get through
Uh,
this year. You need to
uh,
get through the next exam. You need to get through this year, and you need to. I only actually signed up with a firm in my honors year because I was not that I was short sighted. It was like I need to pass this. I don't know if I'm
I
going to
hear you.
pass this. Audit is like you must remember. I went to Stellenbosch. We had audit in Afrikaans. Audit is difficult as
Yo.
it is. Not try learning audit in Afrikaans. Like so I was like, I just need to
Yeah,
pass this.
yeah.
Like I need to get through this subject, this test. Literally short term.
Mm, mm,
The first year wasn't too bad actually because it was quite a lot of a repeat from matric. Second year is when my results just tanked.
mm, mm, mm.
And then I think halfway through second, or call it third year, where things really went south, and we basically between myself and my friends, I said, we're not going out like this. Like, if we must go down fighting. So basically, from June or from July, after our bad results in June, we were literally in the library every day
uh,
because we're not going down without a fight. So it was
uh,
we're just literally fighting hand to hand combat. We're going to pass the next exam. We're going to pass the next test. And it's literally all we did. And that actually helped me because it almost set up like this work ethic that this is now I'm used to doing this, right? And you go from that
mm,
straight into
mm,
the honors year, which you know is the roughest year of your life
mm,
from a studying point of view. But I was already used to doing it every day,
mm.
so that helped a lot. And what happened was I passed my undergrad. I didn't get so at Stellenbosch. I don't know how it works at the university you studied, but at Stellenbosch, you need to get like 60 to get into honors, 55 to get into like a post grad,
Mm, mm.
and I got like 51 or 52 or something like that. So basically, what they said was, if you want to get into honors, you repeat the year. And I was like, but I passed. Like, why? I passed.
Yeah,
Like, I came from,
yeah,
you have no idea what my results were. I'm studying in another language,
yeah. Yo,
and I passed. So
yeah.
I was not going to repeat the year because I've also seen people who did repeat the year and they maybe moved from like 52, 53 or 51 to 54. I was
Mm,
like, I'm not going to
mm.
risk that. Like, that's just. So then I enrolled in UNISA for my honors because
Okay.
they were still willing to take people who had passed. And I did, luckily, I could do it full time because, geez, if you're doing that and working, that's tough. It can be
Yeah.
done, but wow. And people have done it, but wow,
Mm.
like I take my hat off to them.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to the National School of Accounting, so I was there every day. Basically, it's like you get there from 8 to 5, you just studying. You have your breaks, but it's like work. On a bad day, you study 3 hours. That's a bad day. Whereas if you're studying at home, chances are on a bad day, you do no studying. But on a good day, you do 7 hours of studying. So 8 hours of studying. So
Yeah.
that helped me. And then like I had that work ethic all the way through honors, board exam. I was lucky in my fourth year when I was doing honors. We had an invite from KPMG. We met like a few people a few firms, and I went to interviews with a few firms. And then I was like, for some reason, I had forgot about those 3 days that I spent in Matric. And when I saw them the first time, and I was like, hold on, like you were the reason that I'm here in the first place. So I feel like I owe it to you to at least sign, so I signed there. And then I started at KPMG, and articles, just to give me an idea, where are you currently? You're doing
Perfect.
honors now, eh?
I'm doing
Yes,
third
okay.
year at Tux.
Third year. Okay, you're doing third year. Okay, so you still need to get to honors. Honors is rough, but if I can give you any advice on honors year, is like it needs to be done, right? But don't do it half, because if you do it half, you're gonna fail. Like simple. Or then you're gonna be like, I can't give up another year. So you go all in on your honors. You tell people like, I'm sorry, I can't come to your birthday. I'm sorry, I can't come to this event. You can tell your family members, I'm sorry, I can't come to family events. When you have money and you're earning things later in life, you can buy them gifts and they'll feel better. Like at that stage, trust me. When you got a good job, like don't sacrifice your honors here because you had to go to a family function. Like please don't do that. Because then there's a massive difference between having an honors and not having an honors when you're going into the work environment. And having that, so don't sacrifice. Like there's just 1 year that you just need to sacrifice. Just give it your, like, yes, it's rough, but give it your all.
I'm very curious as to, now you are outside in that professional world. What is the perception and what are the opportunities like for someone without an honors versus someone with just a degree?
Okay, so if you look at someone with a degree and someone without a degree, so generally what happens is if you don't have the you can't write your board exam without your honors, right?
Yes.
So most, and again, it's different in Joburg and in Cape Town. But for example, in Cape Town, you generally don't get into a Big Four firm without an honors. Sometimes they make exceptions. I know Joburg is a little bit different because there's a bigger need for trainees, so they're more likely to accept people. But your salary is also going to be higher if you have your honors degree. Also, if you have a undergrad, you can, in theory, you can do a cycle training contract coming straight out of Matric. You can, but then it's a 5-year contract, and it's probably with a smaller firm, as an example. And there's a big difference. I did audit articles, and I did it at a Big Four firm. You can do it at a medium-sized firm. You can do it at you can do training outside of public practice, like in a bank or in an insurance company or in an asset management company. Now there's a lot more opportunities now. Back in my day, it was only generally at the banks, and they were generally in Joburg. But you can do that. You can even do it at a smaller firm that does accounting, and there's lots more opportunities now in terms of the reason I chose a Big Four firm is because, in theory, that will always be on your CV, and perception matters. So wherever you are later on in life, if you've got any of those Big Four names on your CV, whether you're working in South Africa or you're working in the US or you're working in London or you're working anywhere, like, oh, okay, they have an idea of the quality of the work that you've done because you've worked at this Big Four firm that people know about. And that was my decision. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't work at a small firm. There's pros and cons to everything. That was just why I decided. And to be honest with you, I went to watch the first. You were probably very small at the time. I watched the first or the second Transformers movie. And you just see this plane flying over New York, and one of the shots like have this Big Four firm name. Then I was like, that's why. That's why.
Yo, but that speaks so heavily to the brand. I think that is an important point to really stress, that you are gonna have a brand backing you. I think, like, even My brother, so he's training at a Big Four currently still, and he's only realizing now that when you say I'm at PwC, there's a weight to that. You know what I'm saying? Like there really is a weight because this is not just a South African operation. It's not just Waterfall. We're talking about a global institution. I mean, the fact that they can afford the Tower of Terror, the least for that is just like, whoa, you know? So yeah, man, I guess
But
that's important to factor in.
don't choose that just for that. I don't think you should. So, like, if you like, my best friend, he went to a bank, and he's loved it. He's moved into different parts of the bank, hasn't moved from the bank in 17 years. So he knew his personality. He knew he didn't like audit. So he was gone. He's like, I'm not even stepping into this. I'm going to I'm going to. I mean, and you can go to a smaller firm. Like, you just need to make an informed decision that suits your personality.
Okay,
Sorry, I cut you off there.
Not a problem at all. Not a problem at all. I love the tangents, and obviously your ideas. We're here for yours. So you had now not a very conventional route. You know, like most people, they go to the Big Four, they'll stay at Big Four for a little bit, and then maybe once they're done with Big Four, they go into like that industry that they want to. But yours was, like straight out of the Big Four, you started different things. Can you just walk us through that journey after you qualified?
So when you I mean, you in the journey now. So as a CA an accounting student and a CA, if you're doing a CA stream, your life is planned from the time you get out of matric until the time you finish your articles. Basically, you need to do this, and this. As soon as you finish your articles, there's no more structure. There's no more, this is what you need to do. So you need to kind of figure it out for yourself, right? And I think I was just like, I'm following the path. Like, we'll see how it goes. And then now we're at the end of the path. And now what? Like, okay. So exactly. And I was actually, so I started working. So I finished matric when I was 17. So I started working when I was 21. So I qualified as a CA at 24. So now I'm this youngster going to jobs as a CA, and like chances are I'm like managing people who are like 40, and I'm like a 24-year-old. So that was always a little bit of like these old uncles and aunties need to listen to me. That's strange. So I was like, okay. But yeah, I didn't know what I wanted in life. I didn't know what industry suited me, because I did audit. So the cool thing about doing audit is there's different clients, so you get to experience a whole lot. That's another benefit of audit, is you get to go to different clients, so you learn different systems, and you're like, oh, I like this industry. I like this. Cool, you like it, but you're not actually in the industry, so you don't unless there's some people who are like, I want to be an asset manager, and that's great. Like, they will do what they need to. They'll go. But I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, I'm a chartered accountant. That's what I wanted to do, but I'll figure it out. Like, I don't know where I'm going to go. So I tried different things. I went to internal audit for a while. Internal audit wasn't for me. I went to another asset manager. That small asset manager, that wasn't for me. And then I went to a listed property company, and I enjoyed that. It was initially as part of Old Mutual. It's a listed property company, and I was there for 4 years. The thing with me is that I'm somebody who can't get bored. Like, I must enjoy what I'm doing, and it must be interesting. Because if I'm not interested, you can, as soon as I'm in a place that I hate, like, I start getting like, I'm not a combative person. I won't fight. Like, I'll say my say, but I'm not like, you are like, so. But then I'll start getting sick. Then my body will tell me this place is not for you. So my body is telling me, like, you need to find something else. Then I look for something. As soon as I feel it, so I'm not scared to try different things. I'm not scared to risk being unemployed for a month. But if I'm not happy, I'm not going to stick it out. And again, that's not to say that you should do what I do. Some people prefer the devil they know than the devil they don't, and that it comes down to someone's personality and their willingness to take risks. And I'm just someone who doesn't. You spend most of your life at work, and I just can't be miserable at work. It's just no, I can't. I don't mind
Mm,
working hard. I don't mind putting in late hours. If it's something I enjoy, it's something I'm interested in, we do it.
Oh, and very interesting. You mentioned how you're not afraid to leave when you feel like it. So it's not like a thing of like do what you feel. It's a thing of, I think, knowing thyself. Like it's so I think it's powerful to know that, like, even your body, because your body has signals, just like your mind has signals with the thoughts that permeate it, but also your body is telling you, hey, dude, you are sleep deprived. Hey, dude, you are stressed out. Hey, dude, you're not doing what you're meant to be doing, which is such a, like, I think, a profound lesson. When did you start two ways now? When in the arc did that occur?
That only happened towards the end of 2020. So I had worked for probably 13 years by then. I one of my former colleagues I was at Outsource CFO, which is a small advisory firm. It's also they've got a good articles program, and I was part of the starting that. Um, yeah, one of my former colleagues is a marketing guy, and he was talking about branding and digital marketing, and I chatted to him quite a bit, and then I started learning about Gary Vee. I don't know if you were,
Oh, yeah,
you,
yeah.
I don't know if you heard of Gary Vaynerchuk. So I started listening to his podcasts in 2020, and I was like, like, there's no risk in trying. You've got nothing to lose, right? And I was like, okay, like let me try this content thing.
Mm,
And I was trying at that stage. I didn't really have a voice. I wasn't really putting out my thoughts. I was like summarizing articles and putting them on LinkedIn like twice or thrice a week. I was like,
mm,
okay, like I'm seeing I'm getting some traction. And then
mm,
there was this little program, or they had this like, okay, you want to post every day? Let's challenge. Let's post every day. So I tried that. I'm willing to try things, and then
mm,
Gary Vee was talking a lot about like getting out something on video, getting out the podcast, those kind of things. Um, and I was like, what do I talk about? And then I
mm,
realized, listen, I didn't have anyone, I didn't have any mentors. I was one of the first chartered accountants that I know of in my, so I didn't, a lot of people from the other side of the tracks have like an uncle or so and so. But I mean, where we come from, there's no one who can give you guidance. So I
mm,
had no guidance. So I said,
mm,
okay, let me have the show that will give people guidance, and I don't have to. I mean, I'm just asking questions in that interview. In my interviews are not. I mean, they don't take that much prep. I have a list of questions, like
mm.
you probably have a list of questions,
Yeah,
and you let the other person talk, and that's
yeah.
great, you know. And they share their struggles, so and their stories, and I've learned a lot from it, and I'm sure other people have learned a lot. And it doesn't. So yeah, that happened in 2020, and I've just kept going. A lot of it is just down to consistency, just because a lot of people start,
Mm,
and then like after a couple of months they stop, or after. So I've just kept going. I've just kept going. Like every week, yes, there's a holiday here and there that I'll skip. But I try to have a session every week, and I try to put out content every day. And yeah, it's helped me. It's helped me in my career
mm,
because I'm doing something that nobody else is doing.
you're differentiating yourself. Um, can you share with me some of those salient lessons? Because now that you're on the other side of the mic, I'm the one asking the questions today. Can you tell me some of those salient lessons that have stuck? Because sometimes I think, like, especially as a podcaster, you have all these ideas flowing, and you're having all these ideas with people that you hear, but not everything sticks because not everything resonates. Not everything is as impactful in the moment. What has stuck? Could you just name, like, maybe three, or whatever is those lessons that have stuck on the show?
I mean, the biggest lesson for me is not actually. It's don't be scared to try things, and
Mm-hmm.
even like you say, like this won't resonate, but if you make a mistake, it's not really a mistake. It's like, okay, not a lot of people enjoyed this. You will learn something from that.
Mm.
And you and what I also used to be was like, Like, for example, sometimes some of my guests used to pull out, things happen, right? Life happens. And I used to, like, I'd find a replacement guest. Or sometimes I just get a couple of guests and I'm like, okay, I don't think this is going to go. Like, I don't think this is going to hit. This is a replacement guest, or this is a maybe guest. And then that guest actually, like, you look at the views and you're like, this guest, like, shoots out the lights from a view's point of view. And then I realized, okay, I had my own perceptions that were clearly wrong. And what I think the audience will know or the audience will enjoy is not necessarily the case. So who am I to judge for the audience? I just need to give them people that could help, that could help them. And every single episode doesn't have to hit on every person, as long as it hits a certain subject and it helps a certain amount of people. And then another one will help another. Not everything has to cater to everyone. I think that's the biggest lesson, and it's just being willing to try things.
I think that one. So that one for me, the catering to not everyone is so key, because I think in the social media age, this numbers age, where we're always trying to optimize and we're trying to do the best and better than, and you're always comparing, you start to think that, the views is what's important. But that's actually not at all what's important. Think about the fact that, what we see is 70 views. But if you take a step back, what you could actually see is a room of 70 people that you are speaking. You're on a panel discussion. Me and you are having a panel, like an interview discussion for an entire room of 200 people. Let's think about it like that, Like I know some people have their own YouTube channels, like aspiring CAs. They want to be digital creators like you, and they have their own YouTube channels. Like there's this pressure of like, oh, views. Why don't you just serve that one person every single video?
That's true. And the other thing that you don't realize is that, or that I didn't realize at the time, was that everybody you interview becomes someone in your network. Like, if you send me a message after this, I'm like, of course I know Alunga. You know what I mean? I spoke to him last week, or I spoke to him 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And they will reach out to you with the opportunities, or when you are in a bind and like somebody who's an expert, you can reach out to them with a question or ask them for guidance or something. That's also how, because my network has grown with, just by the guests that I've had on my show.
Speaking of networking, I actually was curious to get your thoughts on it. Firstly, I have this theory that networking is nothing but connecting with people with the underlying condition that you have something of value to give to others. I feel like that's all networking is. What are your thoughts around it? Because I think, like, me and my brother had the conversation the other day. There is this sort of connotation with networking and sales. It's like salesy. It's a little slimy. Like, oh, networking. Like, people get a little shy and all about networking. What are your thoughts on it? Because I know you've obviously now learned so much through the podcast with yours.
Oh, a couple of things there. So you hit the nail on the head there with networking. The most important thing about networking is not about what you can get. It's about what you can give. So you have to give first. You don't expect, like, if you meet someone for the first time, you can't ask them for something. Like, I don't know you from a bar of soap. Why would I give it? But if I was to help you with something and I need something in 2-3 weeks' time, the person's going to be more likely to help me because I've helped them first. So networking is about that. And I completely understand everyone's, like, networking is like, you feel uncomfortable because you're not in a sale. Like, nobody taught us to be salespeople.
Yeah.
And I was actually forced into networking, and I'll tell you how. So one of my roles at an asset manager was the COO, and that came with business development. And business development means you have to meet potential clients and network or discuss with potential clients. And one of the reasons we don't like networking is we don't like we are not used to no. We're used to getting the marks and doing well. And when you're in a sales role, you get a lot more no's than you get yeses.
Yeah.
You could get 90% no's, and you have to learn to deal with that. But as long as you get 10% yeses, you're fine. As long as you keep getting new sales is about, like, you just keep doing it. And then, I mean, I was forced into the role, but I just started chatting to people. And then I realized, okay, I got over my, like, what, because you always think, what if I say the wrong thing? Half the time, people don't even remember that you said the wrong thing because they all like all worried about their own lives. So,
Yeah.
you just try again. You take a moment and you come back. Nothing is the end of the world. Like nothing you say, unless you say something with a few caveats, nothing that you say is going to make you lose your job unless you were rude or or doing
Yeah.
something illegal, something wrong, or saying something like. So, I mean, if you say something wrong, you're like, oh, I didn't get the best reaction from that. For the next person, what did I learn from that encounter? How can I change it to the next one? And you just refine. And I'm not the best salesman. I can promise you, I just suck a lot less than I did back in the day. So there's still, like, if I was starting a company now, I would still appoint someone else to be the salesperson because there's someone who can do it every day and they'll be more focused on it. And I'm not a natural salesperson, but I've learned things to do. So it still takes my energy, and I'm exhausted after. But I'm enough to be. I do enough to be dangerous.
You have enough. You have enough courage to get out of that comfort zone. I think that's the thing.
Yes.
Because I think, like, there's this idea that you need to get success the first time. I think, like, it even happens in accounting. Like, the reason why a lot of the time I think we're not achieving that potential is because we're scared of making mistakes, like in questions in practice. So my one friend, he said it was so great the way he put it. He says, so he's like doing his third time in accounting, so he knows some stuff, and he's starting to now uncover a lot of the secrets. He says the reason why us students don't like doing questions is because we don't like being shown that we're wrong, and so we don't do questions so that we don't see that we're wrong. So it's like it's this feedback loop that's just so toxic because, dude, you actually need to do the questions. You actually need to go out, you need to fail, you need to get it wrong in order to get it right. But we get that first part wrong.
But I mean, it makes sense. If you think about it, everyone who's doing accounting came from or 90% of the people who are doing accounting came from a place where they were doing, like, you've been doing well your whole life, and now all of a sudden the accounting tells you you're not that smart. And you're like, oof, that's tough to deal with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you move from 80s to 50s, it's like, wow, that's a bit of a punch in, or even less. Like, that's a punch in the face. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, I'm not as smart as I thought I was. So, I mean, and I was in the same trap. And one thing that like in that whole trying to be perfect, when I used to write my exams in like second year, I used to, because I'm trying to get the answer completely right, I used to run out of time. And then I'd get through like 60% of, I'd get through 60% of the paper, I'd miss out 40%, and you get like, and you wouldn't, so I wouldn't pass the paper. And then, like, especially then I started learning exam technique, especially in honors years. Like, you need to get the most amount of marks in the time, and then you move on. Even if you're not done, you move on because you've got the most of you're chasing 1 or 2 marks at this point, and you're losing out on 20 marks because you're trying to get this one perfect. So you move on. You have to move on, otherwise you lose out.
On the networking, I also have this other idea around, you know the quote, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, right? One thing that I'm learning, and I'm sure you've experienced, is that even more than that, it's not about what you know, it's about who you know, but even more than that, it's about who knows you. And that actually leads me on to the question of, what have been some of those opportunities, some of those stories that building your personal brand have actually attracted in your life?
So you're 100% right. It's about who knows you. But you also have to put in the work. Like, it's not like, oh, I know this person and it's going to be the answer to all my prayers. You have to have the drive, and you still have to push for what you want. And I'll give you, there's quite a few examples. So I'm the CFO of a tech startup, as you mentioned. The only reason that I was connected to this to this company was that somebody that I had interviewed the year before was a venture capitalist. And I just found him on LinkedIn. He had reached out, and I said, "Hey, can I interview you?" No other reasons. And we had the interview. And like a couple of months later or a year later, he's like, "Hey, one of our portfolio companies is looking for a CFO. Are you interested?" They don't want to go to a recruiter because recruiters cost money, right? And as a startup, you're trying to save money. So I would never have had that intro or that reference if I didn't interview him on and I didn't interview him with the aim of, listen, I want to get a job from you. We were just
Yeah.
having a conversation because I thought it would be an interesting guest for people to know about venture capital. And my also doing the content in my previous role, the bigger my brand grew, the bigger the company's brand also grew. So the luckily I had leaders who were forward thinking and were willing to let me do my thing because they realized, okay, like he might say something that might not necessarily fit with our brand, but his brand is growing and his brand is growing is also growing our brand. So they gave me a wide berth. So I got promotions. Obviously, I did the work and I did what was needed of me on a day-to-day basis. But that exposure makes me more marketable, and it gave me more opportunities than anybody else who maybe wasn't putting out content, who's just only who's not networking, who's only networking with the people in their own organization.
And crazy, you interview someone, how insane, and they give you a job. Like, imagine if so obviously you've done so many, but I mean, I like this rule by this like sort of principle by this internet entrepreneur. His name's Alex Hormozy. He has this thing called the rule of 100. And so he believes that if you're looking at different games, and one that's very clear is content, right? Aim for 100. Do 100 of the thing, and then see, okay, does this work? Okay, maybe I should give up. Like, in terms of that consistency thing, if you want to go and start some type of side hustle, try and do 100 days of it. Then after the 100 days, maybe it doesn't work, maybe it does work. More often than not, it does. Try do 100 episodes or try do 100 LinkedIn posts, and you'll see so much opportunity on the other side of it. On that LinkedIn point, I pulled out some interesting quotations that I would like for you to elaborate on, because now you've started to share your ideas, and I think your ideas are so valuable for young professionals. So, obviously you're comfortable with this since you post them, but I think some of the ideas would be so valuable for us to explore as well. So I'm gonna shoot.
Go for it.
My problem is not one of having no opportunities. My problem is not having the time to properly pursue opportunities that I find interesting. If you are in a position where you have time, make the most of it.
A lot to unpack, but ask your question and let's jump in.
That's it. What does that mean? Elaborate on that.
Okay.
Can you explain it for people?
I'm in a CFO role. I have no time. I listen to a lot of podcasts, like in my time off when I'm driving to work, when I'm washing the dishes. That's how I get like ideas, and that's how I keep learning. So I'm constantly listening to podcasts and upskilling myself with things that I'm interested in. But I don't have the time to start like a side hustle, or I don't have the time to start a business and see how it grows because my time is just taken. Like so. I have to look for things that don't take a lot of my time. Maybe that's investing my money or, things like that. I don't have the time to let's say, take a coffee shop or something like that because this is the role that I've got and I need to do this work. I don't have time. Like, people always ask me how I do my content every day and how I put up. Like, I've got a process, like I've got a system that works for me now so that it doesn't take up too much of my time. But it's all about trying to save time. If I was in a position where I was in varsity and I had time still, like you're not studying the whole day 24/7, right?
Mm.
Even if you're doing articles and you're done with you're not working the whole day. You've got time after hours. If you're interested in learning, I don't know, coding, why not try starting? Or if you're interested in learning about AI, you'll be a much more valuable employee or person, or whether it's at the later stage, if you know AI and your peers don't, or if you are interested in investing and you start putting your money away now, or like you want to do more research, or even if you want to do more content and you want to shoot more videos, you can shoot more videos in the life of a third year
Yeah,
accounting student at
yeah,
university.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
you can do that.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the only thing that's stopping you is your own limiting beliefs. You're like, nobody's gonna like this, or why should I put this out, or the nose in your head. But everything you put out makes you learn something new, or maybe you want to. And even if you start a failed business or a failed side hustle, um, it will help you later on. Like when they talk to a lot of people and they're like, "What? In high school I was selling sweets, or I was doing this. I was doing." They were always doing something outside of the ordinary. Whereas you don't want to do something outside of the ordinary because you don't want to be different. You don't want to be seen as different. You want to be. I'm speaking you as in the general you.
Yeah.
You want to be seen as like everyone else, and everybody wants to be that. Nobody wants to stand out. Nobody wants to feel like they're different. Nobody wants and I struggled with those same things. So I've got a little bit of an interesting background in that. My mother's from Cape Town, from the Cape Flats, and my father's from KZN, Ladysmith. And the two cultures that clash. So I'm like in the middle. And then I stand out in either one. So I'm after a while, like my whole life when I was younger was like, I just want to fit in, man. Like, but then afterwards I realized I naturally don't fit in. So now I was like, fine, I'm just gonna do me, because it's exhausting trying to fit in. I can tell you that. So it's exhausting trying to fit in. So I just kept. Now I'm just like, I'm interested in something. I'm gonna do it. What's stopping me? Like whose opinion am I worried about? Like if I'm interested in something, go and do it. You'll be surprised what it can be the randomest thing. It doesn't have to be a business. It's like I'm interested in old records. Not me, but I'm just being
Yeah,
like an
yeah.
example. And now you become like, if you start putting out content on the old records, after 50 episodes, all of a sudden you're the go-to person for old records in South Africa, or you meet other people because you put out there's so much opportunity, but you have to do it. You can't think of it, you have to do it. And things get unlocked and your mind opens up to different things as you do it. But if you don't do it, you don't get anywhere.
I feel like the takeaway is to unlock your time. I think behind the whole procrastination thing, behind the societal fears of like, what are they going to think? I want to fit in. There's something that you're not unlocking in yourself and in your time. So I think for those out there, if you have time, which you obviously do as a student, like this whole thing of like, I don't have time. You probably do. Just enjoy the time that you have. I think that's the big thing. Next one.
Just one last point on that. If I have time,
Yes.
somebody says, I don't have time. I'm not saying you must work 5 hours a day on something. You'll be surprised how 15 minutes a day doing research on a topic, 15 minutes a day, if you think about it, or even half, let's say 15 minutes a day, that's an hour in a week. If you think about that, that's 52 hours in a year, right? If my maths is right. 52 hours, you will be that much further along after just with 15 minutes. And after a while, you can be like, I'm not really interested in this anymore. Then switch or find something else, but you'll be 15 minutes smarter. You'll be 52 hours smarter than the other person because you know so much more than the other person. You don't have to sit. I'm not saying sit for 4 hours every day and do something. I'm saying start with 15 minutes, start with 30 minutes. Test it out and see where you go.
There's this thing called the 20-hour rule. So this guy, Josh Kaufman, he's a great author, and he did all these experiments and found that most people don't actually want to get to that coveted 10,000 hours mastery, right? Most people don't want to become masters. Most people just want to be good at something. And so he actually found that 20 hours is that time. So it's not even, you don't even have to do it for a whole year. You could do it just for 20 weeks, 15 minutes a day, 20 weeks. And that's like, what? Oh, my math. 5 months. Like 5 months. You see, I need a calculator to do this. Like, so, like, it's always on the side of a little bit of effort. I love that. Okay, next quote. The older I get, the more I realize that some adults are just big kids. If they are angry, no amount of logic is going to change their minds. Let them vent because they need to feel heard. Perhaps approach them when they are more level-headed. Sure, this sounds interesting.
And again, I wasn't pointing fingers at people. I was just pointing out, like, and we all, myself as well, we've all had trauma in our lives. So we've all had unhealed trauma or unhealed issues. Nobody's perfect. And certain people are good. And it takes a lot of like self-healing to get over certain things. And not everybody does. And it's not, some people, everybody's got a different personality. Some people are quick to respond in anger and some people are drawn in. And that's just because people are different. But what I was trying to say is there's no point trying to talk logic to somebody who's upset. Doesn't matter how much logic you throw at them, they are upset. So because you're moving from your logic brain to your animal brain and you're angry. So you're not going to convince anyone that they are wrong if they are not in a state to receive what you have. Obviously, you also have to communicate that in a way that's palatable. You can't say, "Hi, you are wrong." If you make someone feel stupid, don't expect them to listen to you. And like, yes, it's sometimes like things are petty, man. Like sometimes people get angry for petty things. Like,
Yeah.
really.
And a really interesting book is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. If guys,
Love that book.
if you've heard this book cited somewhere or you hear it all around, I promise you it's not just hype. It's not
Read
just
the book. But
read the book. Read the book. One of the fundamental principles of how to deal with people is do not condemn, criticize, or complain. And it's like, so it's rooted in this. People don't listen to you if they are angry. If they're in that emotional brain, they're just not susceptible to any type of reason. So no, that's like, in my head, it's obvious, kind of thing.
It is, but I mean, sometimes you need to be told. It's sometimes like things delivered with a spoon of honey are a lot more acceptable than things delivered in a sour manner.
That's from
And
the book.
sometimes, I can't even remember. I read it so long ago. But like
Yeah.
sometimes, like you'll be surprised what you can get just by being nice. If you go to the like I mean, sometimes I test these things out. Like you literally go to the grocery store when you pay, and you smile at the person who's doing your groceries. You'll see your interaction is totally different from if you have a sour face, they're going to have. It's just the energy that you portrays onto them. If you smile at them, they're more likely to be nicer to you. They're more likely to be like, oh, this. If you want something, you have to portray it. You can't come in with like, and expect other people to be happy to see you. So yeah.
One of the principles in the book is begin in a friendly way, which I think is exactly what you're talking about. Come with a smile. Another principle is smile. That's another thing. But beginning in a friendly way, it's the way past people's sort of defense mechanisms, because everyone has that. Especially out in a social environment, people are having their guards up. And the moment you smile, the moment you begin in a friendly way, it says, okay, this person's maybe not a threat. And so then they'll also reciprocate and they'll be with you. They'll do the dance. Okay, last post. Just because someone you respect, and I love this one, disagrees with you, does not mean you are wrong. They are speaking from their perspective and their experience. Your experience and perspective are different. You have different strengths and weaknesses. Keep pushing. I love this one.
I come from a family where, the adults are always right, what I say goes. So after a while, I got to the point where, like, if they say something, I assume they're right. And you don't even realize that you have this mentality. And then I brought it into work. And it's like, oh, the audit partner said this, he must be right. The manager said this, he must be right. But then I realized they don't know everything. They are using their experience to give you their opinion. And they may have positive points, but they don't know you like you know you. So from their point of view, this might not work, this idea that you've explained to them or your argument. And they are right in their context, but they don't know that you put in all the hours, or you've already met with this, or you have a better work ethic that they expect than they're expecting. So from their point of view, they're just explaining to you based on their understanding. It's not a fact, it's an opinion. And opinions are not fact. You can prove, not that you want to prove them wrong, but you can, just because someone says no doesn't mean your idea is wrong. Because they are just speaking from their context, and your context might be very different. And sometimes I used to think, like, I'd explain to people, I tell them, and I'm like, I know I'm right, but he says I'm wrong. It's like, after a while of this happening, I'm like, because then I used to stop certain things, and I realized I'm just losing out on opportunities because I'm listening to people who I think are right, but they don't have my context. So then I was like, I'm going to try it, and then we'll see. Obviously, there's certain things that definitely won't work out, but again, don't assume just because somebody says it's wrong, it's a fact. It's not.
That's so profound, because I think there's also this belief in aspiring CAs and like students in general's minds that because they're a student, they don't know anything, or that because they're a student, the teacher's right, the lecturer's right. When you become a trainee, the manager's right. And when you become even a CA, oh, the senior manager's right, and the partner's right, and that person's right. But when are you going to make your own decisions and your own conclusions? Yeah. That's I think there was this interesting thought by this guy, something Wallace. He was a writer. He's a writer that passed. But the great purpose of education, and I've thought about this because I'm also a speech coach at a high school now, part-time. And I'm realizing education, what is it about? Is it about teaching, or is it about learning? And I believe that what we are here to do is we're here to learn how to make our own conclusions. And that means you need to be able to disagree with a partner. You need to be able to disagree with the CFO, even though they might know more. And I think it gets into this idea of overconfidence versus self-confidence. People lack confidence in general, but just for sake of this thought, I want to explain like the difference. So I have this idea that, so I've typically been overconfident in my life, and or rather I believed I was. I think teenagers are generally overconfident, but overconfidence is defined when you know what you know well, but you don't know enough, and therefore you know a little. Self-confidence is what you're really aiming for, is when you know enough to know that you don't know everything, but what you know well. And so being in this accounting and being in this space of training, I think we need to get to a place where when we're grappling with these ideas, we must know the valuation well. We must know the taxation principle well, and the reason behind this particular act, the reason why we might make this decision as opposed to that decision. But I think we must also be susceptible to the lecturers, because they obviously know a lot. They know a lot more than us, but it doesn't mean they know everything. Just because they wrote it down doesn't mean it's right either. And I think it's such a balance to strike, hey?
100%. And it's the
Yeah.
same reason if you think of lawyers in a court, people who studied for years and yet they're still arguing about certain things. That means that not one person is right.
Yeah. Sure, that's a profound one as well. Okay, Uwais, goodness gracious. Yo, you've blessed us today. If now let's quickly look into the crystal ball, right? The crystal ball of the road to CA. Nah. And we can see within the ball Uwais from first year, second year, maybe even high school, right? What should he know from what you know now?
I guess you will figure it out because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know who I was. I didn't like coming from two worlds. You always like trying to figure out what your identity is and where you belong. And I would just say you will figure it out. It's like you don't know. Yeah, don't worry. Just keep doing what you're doing. You'll figure it out.
Man, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. I promise you. He's telling you. He's you in the future, dog. Listen. Guys, if you have not already, please follow this, subscribe, because this is definitely going to come out on YouTube. Man, Uwais, this was an absolute pleasure. I feel like it was part one. But in any case, I hope it does not end, but that it begins in CASA. Uwais, thank you so much, man.
100%. Yeah. Thanks for having me.